Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Dzkan Toys, where I do reviews and share my thoughts on some of my favorite toy releases. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we'll be looking at the new S.H.Figuarts Raditz from Dragon Ball Z. Let's take a quick look at the box and get the unboxing started. Alright, here we have our Raditz unboxed. A short introduction of S.H.Figuarts line is a popular line of high-quality collectible figures made by Bandai. The toy line debuted in 2008 and is targeted towards the adult fans most of the time due to the higher prices and more show-accurate detailing of the figurines. As for our character today, Raditz is one of the first villains, I believe, in Dragon Ball Z from my memories. He is the biologic brother of Goku and the eldest son of Bardock and Gine. He was one of the 4 known remaining Saiyans left alive after his home world was destroyed. He seeks out Goku in order to recruit him to conquer more planets at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. And also for a fun fact, many Dragon Ball fans already know, but all of the Saiyans' names is based on vegetables, so Raditz over here from the original creator actually is based on radish. Now that we have the basic introduction out of the way, let's move on to the aesthetics and paint job of the figure. Overall, at first glance, Raditz looked quite good and is expected of the S.H.Figuarts line currently. When looking at him, for sure, he is bigger than our usual Goku and Vegeta figures. Not only is he taller, but he is also more beefier compared to our usual Saiyans. Starting from the top, we can see Raditz had this crazy long hair. I guess he made Super Saiyan popular before it was popular, right? And anyways, when we're moving down to the head design, Raditz's face design is quite simple and S.H.Figuarts form definitely do it justice. We do have the Scouter, which is a signature look of all of the Saiyan fighters that comes from Frieza's army in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. And Raditz here is no different. In terms of the face design, it kind of reminds me of Goku a little bit, but Vegeta even more, especially looking at the forehead. It definitely looks like a copy of Vegeta's forehead style. Moving down to the midsection of the body, we have the design of the typical Saiyan armor that we've seen Vegeta and Nappa wear when they first came to Earth. So over here, Raditz's armor is in black with white carvings, with the paddings being brown. In terms of the hair design and the color, we also have black for all the Saiyans before they turn Super Saiyan, of course. So nothing special really about the color, is quite toned down overall. Some notable features in terms of the design of Raditz though, we do have his signature Saiyan tail, which is wrapped around his waist, which Vegeta and Nappa also had when they came to Earth, I believe. Similarly, in terms of a wrapping design, we also have these rope-like designs which wrap around Raditz's wrist, and we do have it on both hands as well. Furthermore, another interesting aspect of Raditz's design is that he has these sort of dark red colored rope or wrappings around his arm and legs. So we have one on the left arm and one on the left leg. Not really sure what these are for besides design. Here's a closer look. In terms of the lower half, it's quite simple. Raditz over here actually have his legs exposed, so we can see all the muscular features of his legs painted in the skin color. On his boots, we also have similar design compared to his handguards, where we have these rope sort of wrappings around each boot. And similarly to the handguard, the boots design is also in the color black as well as white. Here's a quick side view. We can see a clear image of the Scouter design, which is done in white with some brown designs and black painting. Of course, the clear green for the visor. But at this view, we can also see that the hairpiece for Raditz is actually really huge. Here we have a back view, and the most prominent thing that we see over here is definitely Raditz's hairstyle, and S.H.Figuarts did a good job on the sculpting. We can see all the individual spikes of Raditz's hair over here. That's about it for the aesthetics and paint job of the figure. I didn't say too much about the paint job overall because the colors are quite simple. And even looking closely at the figure itself, there aren't many paint defects or paint bleeding. So in terms of Tamashii Nation and Bandai, I feel like they have definitely been increasing gradually in terms of their paint quality and quality control in general. As for the aesthetics, I feel like Raditz is quite simple, but yet is very memorable and definitely would stand out on your shelf due to that long hair and his size compared to other S.H. Figuarts. Now let's move on to the accessories of this figure. Starting with the face sculpt, we have 4 in total, and the one that we see right here is attached straight out of the box, which is the normal looking face. Next up, we have a evil smiling face or slightly grinning face. The third one is a confused looking face, and also we have the teeth clenching. As for the last and fourth faceplate, we have the screaming face. It is nicely painted over here as we can see the detailings of the teeth as well as the tongue. If you're wondering, all of Raditz's faceplate requires him to wear his scouter, so you cannot have him without his scouter. Over here, we can see the peg at the ear. No matter which faceplate you use, we must put a scouter on or it will look a little bit weird unless you try to look at it from the other side or another angle. In addition, if you're wondering how his face swapping works for Raditz, we actually removed the front hairpiece over here and we only changed the faceplate while we put back the hairpiece after we changed to a new faceplate. Next up, let's show all of the hand accessories. So we have the casual 2 closed fists that comes attached to Raditz straight out of the box. For the next pair, we have a pair of slightly opening hands. Something I noticed here that I forgot to mention in the design of Raditz is he has this cool design that actually for his hand guard, there's this white part of the hand guard that wraps around the thumbs all the way over to the hand guard. So this is something unique about Raditz that I didn't see on any of the other Z fighters. And this is shown in all of his inter-exchangeable hands. Now for the third and last pair of hands, we have the fully open palms. Similarly, we also have that white rope part that wraps around the thumb for his hand design that I just mentioned. Here's a closer look at what I'm talking about. Next up, in terms of the accessories, we also have the cross arm accessory, which I attached to Raditz just now. For this, we can make the same typical classic crossing arm pose look very natural, and it's nice that they included this as an accessory. Something worth mentioning is it's actually quite easy to take the arms off to swap into this cross arm piece compared to some of the earlier S.H.Figuarts Dragonball release. For this one, it's straight up just a simple straight peg, which makes it much easier to peg in. Here's a quick shot of the peg itself. Here's a quick look at the peg system. Moving on to the second last accessory, we do have a Sang tail included over here. So usually it's wrapped around his waist, so let's check it out with the option part attached. Here's what Raditz looked like with the tail accessory attached. Here's a quick look of what the tail looks like between his legs from the front. As for the last accessory, it's just an extra back piece armor, which we take off the original over here and swap on to this one that has a peg hole for a stand. Here's what Raditz look like with the peg stand armor at the back. So there's some extra protruding part. I assume that is for lifting up his hair after you plug him in the stand. Next up, let's check out the articulation. For the head, we do have a possible 360, but you have to work and lift the hair a little bit until it's being blocked by the shoulder armors. We have a looking down. Neck is double jointed, so that's pretty good. Also looking up. Side to side is possible. As for the armors, they go all the way up, and that's about it. They're jointed on 2 pegs over here. I noticed that this is different from the Ginyu Force that we have been getting, and it's much more stable and they don't pop off as easily, so that's a huge bonus compared to the previous release. As for the hairpiece itself, it's actually on a peg over here for separation, so we do have a rotation here for the hair. You can slide it around, move it up and down a little bit. Moving on to the arms, we can go all the way up about that high until the armor starts getting in the way. We can rotate the biceps, the elbow joint, very nice, wrist joint and wrist wiggle. Pop the hand here. We also do have a butterfly joint, which is pretty nice, and we can move the arms forward a little bit, about that much. So this one is not as much as the Recomb figure that we just got this year, but I think that's a maximum I can bend it. As for the waist, we have a waist rotation. front, back, side to side, lower waist, we had a rotation as well. Skirt armor goes all the way up. The front one goes all the way up. Side one goes all the way up. They don't really have a rotation and they're just pegged on. So compared to the Ginyu and the Recomb one that we have been getting, they don't rotate, they only go up and down. But they're definitely much more stable compared to the other ones. So you guys tell me if you rather have that one or this one, I'm not really sure. Anyways, moving on to the legs. The armor popped off, but we can move all the way up here and all the way back. Very typical of S.H.Figuarts. Thigh rotation, knee bend, that's the furthest it will go. And of course we have the ankle rotation, movement up and down, toe pivot. Yeah, so be careful when you're moving him around because the armor might pop off, even though I feel like it's a bit more stable compared to the Ginyu Force releases. And of course, once we attach the extra tail, it's on a ball joint, so there are some movements around to wiggle and you can rotate it around. Now let's do some quick size comparisons. Here's the S.H.Figuarts Goku Super Saiyan Blue. Even with the hair, Raditz is definitely a bigger figure and also taller. Excuse me for not finding my normal Goku right now, so we do have some extra height for Goku with the blue hair, but he still looks smaller. Here we have Scouter Vegeta S.H.Figuarts. So Raditz again is taller, and something I noticed is that Vegeta's armor seems a lot more brighter compared to Raditz and the other Saiyans, with that blue and white color instead of the black and brown. Here we have Nappa S.H.Figuarts. I believe Nappa is a bit taller, but definitely Raditz looks around the same height once we add his hair height, and these look quite good next to each other. Overall, the brown on Raditz's armor is a darker brown compared to Nappa over here. Here's a quick non-S.H.Figuarts size comparison. We have John Outer Figma Shinjuku version. Also a Mezco Punisher Netflix edition. Time to wrap up with final thoughts on today's figure review. Overall, I enjoyed Raditz, the figure release, more than I thought I would. Looking at the actual figure itself, it definitely have great shelf presence, so that's a positive. Other positives in terms of this figure is they strengthen the neck joint, I have noticed, and this way it can carry its long hair weight much better against gravity, all of the figure's enemies. Am I right? Other than that, the armor pieces on the shoulder pads and also on the waist does seem more stable compared to the Recom and the other Ginyu Force release. That's also a bonus. The paint job for this Raditz figure is quite simple, but overall the quality is there for S.H.Figuarts and it's what you would expect. The quality control is definitely getting better, I feel like. In terms of the negatives, I would say compared to the previous Ginyu Force release that we've had with Recom and also Jess, there seems to be a little bit lesser accessories. It's not really a huge complaint, but we only have 3 pairs of hands to play with in this release. In the end then, would I recommend this Figuarts release? For this one, I think it's really up to you guys because Raditz is one of those characters that only appeared once in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z. If you get him, he's definitely a nice figure to have. Anyways, there goes the end of today's unboxing and review. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to support the channel by liking and subscribing. I would really appreciate that. As always, my friends, until next time, stay young at heart and we're out. Hey Raditz, my brother, how are you in the afterlife? Tell mom and dad I said hi. And by the way, check out this form I have. It is Super Saiyan Blue. Aren't you impressed? Goku, I'm not impressed at that. For now, I am number 1 in the afterlife. What do you mean, Raditz? Well, I am the number 1 ambassador for shampoo in the afterlife. Just check out my hair. Everybody in the afterlife buys shampoo from my brand now. Fear me, Kakarot, as one day you'll use my shampoo brand too.
Ha ha ha. There is no escape.
I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins. Won't play it safe.
Of course, you can move it along with the head joint. Alright, we just lost the faceplate. That's not supposed to happen. I personally like this release better than I thought I would.